Right, so before all of that, we're going to talk about psychic ability. You may always think you have a gut feeling. Should you listen to that gut feeling and trust your intuitions? I personally have a very big gut and I can't ignore it. Yes, I
trust it.
I can't. It says to
no
me,
one can ignore it, but can you trust it?
Do you know I had last night the foulest takeaway that I ever had? It was like eating, I swear to you, a bowl of salt. Everything you went to was ridden of salt. Why do takeaways? Why do they have so much salt in them?
Don't know.
It's ghastly. I mean, actually, you even saw that I'd left it on the side.
Well, I was surprised that it was left, but then that's why you needed your Weetabix this morning. You're still hungry.
To balance myself, exactly.
Balance you out.
Well, anyway, so...
Enough of that.
I was listening to my gut on that, OK? But now we've got a dream decoder and a spirituality expert. She's Theresa Cheung. And Theresa says you could already be harnessing the power to become your own psychic. Why is that, Theresa?
Because we're all born with the ability to see and sense beyond the material, beyond logic. But the sad thing is, as we get older, we lose our connection to that sixth sense that we are born with and which science is also now showing that we all have.
Theresa, you have been researching, writing about spirituality and dreams for 25 years. So how do you describe yourself? Because there might be people tuning in now going, oh, is she a psychic?
I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. That's how I describe myself, which is how everybody is a spiritual being having a human experience. We all have souls, consciousness. And I've devoted my life to researching what is consciousness, what is our soul, that spark of life in us, the part of us that can exist separate from our body and our brain.
So what good does that do us? I mean, I'm listening to you, hear what you're saying, but I'm thinking, why do I need that?
Because it gives your life deeper meaning. In times of crisis, that's what pulls you through. And it's fascinating that during the pandemic, I have never had so much interest in what I do. As you say, I've been writing for 25 years. You know, I'm championing the spiritual approach to life. But in times of crisis, people realize that the material, this stuff, what we've been telling ourselves all these decades, isn't enough to pull us through and give us that strength. And this is especially the case during times of grief, when you've lost a loved one. You need to see the deeper meaning, the bigger picture of your life. And that's why I think it's so important.
Well, you say we're born with it. You say as we grow older and we're influenced by outside factors, we lose that ability. Right. So how does a person reignite or channel whatever psychic power they have?
Well, first of all, be open to it. Just listening to this item will actually hopefully open your mind to the idea that you can be a psychic, you can be a medium, you can connect to the other side. So be open to the idea, challenge your logical brain. One great exercise to do that is to try for 10 seconds to think about your day backwards. And the reason that's a very popular psychic development exercise is because it challenges you to defy logic and think outside the box. So that's one way you can do it.
What do you mean? Because you would normally go in the order of the things that have happened to you during the day. By going backwards, you're what, unravelling that? I don't really understand how that...
Challenging dominance of your logical brain, because intuition is that leap of faith. And actually, a lot of very logical people, scientists, the way they do their great discoveries is that leap of faith. They look at all the connections and then they make an almost illogical leap to come to a conclusion. But most of us, you know, fear doing that because we think we've got to stay within these set boundaries. And an exercise like that will simply wake up your intuition muscle in your brain, because we've all got it, but it's gone to sleep because our life's made so easy for us right now because we passively consume what's presented in front of us. We're not required to be as intuitive as we could have been in times past. So an exercise like that can simply show you that actually you're in charge of your thoughts. Your thoughts don't define you. And your emotions don't define you too. You can impose a different order. It's just to wake up that creative, intuitive, psychic part of your brain, which is actually called spidey sense. And the US military has actually invested millions.
Like spider.
Spidey sense.
Spidey man. Yeah.
No, training soldiers.
You said there, it helps us to reach out and see what's on the other side or be in touch with what's on the other side. What do you believe is on the other side? Because a lot of people would say there's nothing on the other side.
Well, I first will say, how do you know? And I'm going to say, I don't know either. I'm just following the research. And at the moment, there are so many scientists and neuroscientists studying consciousness. It is so fascinating, because when I started writing, I just collected anecdotal stories, because since the beginning of time, people have been having psychic experiences, afterlife encounters, angel experiences, and I collated them. That's what I did. But with the skeptics always saying to me, where's the proof? Where's the proof? I went in search of it. And I have been for the last 5 to 6 years doing that. And it's fascinating to see science actually researching this now and showing that it is a natural human ability. There are just too many anecdotal cases to dismiss. And actually, when scientists do reach out and say to people, have you had psychic experiences? I'm telling you, the people who say they've never had a dream come true, they've never had a hunch come true, they've never followed their gut instinct and it's been right, people who say they've never had that experience are very rare. So actually, the majority of us are more in tune with our psychic sense than we realise. We just need to believe in it.
Yeah, you mentioned dreams there, Theresa, and you call yourself a dream decoder. I'm fascinated by dreams. Like, what makes us dream the things we do? Are we processing things going on in our lives? And whenever we do, have dream experts in here, decoders, as you call yourself, our phone lines ring off the hook and people can't wait to understand their dreams. How meaningful do you believe they are?
Oh, for me, dreams are life, because you don't stop being you when you fall asleep. And I had the privilege a couple of weeks ago chatting to Holly and Phil about, there was a phone in. So I know the interest, and it was amazing. Your viewers are still messaging me with their dream stories, and I'm so grateful. And what I want to say, every dream is a gift, because it is commenting on your waking life, but in symbolic form. A lot of people do take their dreams literally, and I'm trying to show people that it's actually like internal therapy. It's commenting in your life from a symbolic, in a psychological way. So you've got to look beneath the surface for the meaning. Having said that, that's about 99% of dreams. And I think what we're talking today is about the 1% of dreams that could be potentially psychic or precognitive. Yeah. And those, again, are being studied by psychologists, by scientists, and they are fascinating. And I get into my inbox so many messages from people who have had a dream and it's played out. Astonishing dreams. I was at my hairdresser the other day, and I hope you won't mind me saying, and he was saying, oh, I had this dream. I dreamt that my grandmother, she fell over, and we'd not got on that well. And then the next morning when I woke up, I heard that she had died, and he hadn't dreamt of her before. Things like that are just incredible. What's happening there, this connection?
Yeah, so you're advocating intuition and the fact that we've all got it, you believe, and we can exercise it, we can bring it to the fore. Now, there's a couple of exercises that you have which I think will help our viewers today if they want to develop their intuition, and one is the traffic light system. Tell us about that.
Well, again, being illogical. Being intuitive is about making associations between things that you wouldn't normally associate it. So associate an emotion with a color, right? For example, red is stop. So if you have a decision to make, close your eyes and visualize that you're in a car, you're going to traffic lights. Is the traffic light red, amber, or green? The answer is self-explanatory then. However, if you're one of these people who struggles to visualize, and I'm actually discovering a lot of people do, they struggle to visualize, the good news is that your dreams then are the answer, because you can actually incubate a dream and ask your dreaming mind to give you some insight into your future to help you and send you symbols, because people who struggle to visualize can actually still dream very vividly.
And why do you think sometimes you can remember a dream so vividly in the morning, literally?
Because it was the last thing you
and others
thought
you
of.
can't. You just didn't dream last night.
Because your dream, you're not thinking of one that you dreamt 4 hours ago. You're thinking of one you dreamt 4 minutes ago.
Is that right?
It's because of how open you are to it at the time. And again, to refer back to the pandemic, so many people had a more careful, slow morning because they're on furlough or whatever, that they had the time to reflect on their dreams. So often when we get up, we instantly go into waking mode. And unfortunately, the unconscious is too subtle. It can't break through and it poses itself, it fades. Dream. That's why you've got to write down your dreams immediately. And that's what I would encourage everyone doing, to write down their dreams, and also to have a go making predictions, because once you get one prediction right, say when a text comes in, guess who it is. I mean, if you haven't got an alert that's associated with the name, guess who it is before. When the doorbell rings, have an intuitive hunch about who it is, and once you get that one hit, you know you can do it.
Yeah.
And you can start training it from there. You've got to prove to yourself, because, you know, as I work with scientists, it's all about proof. I'm not interested in when people say to me in hindsight, oh, I knew this was going to happen and then it did. I want them to record it and date it and time it so that we have the solid proof.
Okay.
That's
Final thing is, people will say toss of a coin as if it has no relevance. It could go one way or the other. You believe the toss of a coin can influence your decision or your intuition?
Absolutely, because when you toss it, it doesn't matter what side comes up. It's your gut feeling in your gut and your feelings, because feelings are the language of your intuition. If the answer you get, you have a gut feeling and an instinct against it, that's what you've got to follow, not the side of the coin. So the coin is just a sort of a vehicle to help you tap into what your emotions are saying. And there is a way of knowing the difference between intuition and negative thinking or wishful thinking.
Okay.
And, you know, I
thanks for developing that and letting us all think about that. That's Theresa Cheung there, how to be your own psychic, basically. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you very much indeed.
Do you have that thing where the phone rings and you say to someone, I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you, and then they call you?
Well, I do that. I get that right. Every time our landline rings, I know exactly who's on it. Because the only people that ever phone our landline are her uncle and aunt and her mother.
Yeah.
So there's nobody else ever phones the landline.
We know who it'll be.
Yeah, so I go,
Who is it?
You get it right.